Halo Sasuke 12 PreCast. That's right, we're doing these again. We kind of skipped on 11 because of a certain fiasco. Me and Rish won't get into it. Uh, we did it twice, but that's no big deal. A slight hiccup, right, Rish?
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited here for the precast for Halo Sasuke Tournament 14.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've restarted so many times now. It's
Well, only
ridiculous.
twice. That's why it's Tournament 14. That's a joke. Never mind. Sorry.
Who cares? Anyways, Rish, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
I'm great, except for I have to rethink about the fact that I am horrible at your final two obstacles on your course, in failing them in 9, 10, and 11. So, oof.
Yeah, yeah. Remember that one time whenever, like, you made fun of yourself while making fun of Bubba? That was pretty funny.
I just would like to point out that I finished top 10 in each of the last three tournaments without clearing. Like, that takes some real talent.
Dude, that's
Uh,
why you got a good number, man. That stuff doesn't go under the rug, man.
what
Tell
did you
you what.
say I am this time? 91 and 12?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
I
get
guess
into the fine details of 12 in a bit. Let's talk about 11. Uh, it was, a better tournament results wise than 10. You know,
yeah.
I, I think it's very similar to how it's been from 9 to 10, where it's just everybody slowly improving. Yeah,
Yeah.
a similar amount of stage threes, but more stage twos this time around, which is nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like starting with stage one, I was very surprised with when I watched the tournament, seeing how tough the hole in the wall was. Seeing the amount of people that failed it, like the good people that failed it, like it really made it a strange tournament to watch. Looking at my little cheat sheet that I pulled out, and actually, it's good for stuff like this. Of the 50 competitors, only 24 out of 50 beat the second obstacle, which was like pretty low, like a lot lower than I expected.
Right.
Um, and then, of course, obviously, it meant that not that many people failed the dragon glider or the fishbone. I know it's called the dragon pendulum. I screwed up. Sorry. Irish cans confirmed. But no, like it really made it an interesting tournament in that, like, it didn't give you a whole lot of fails on the dragon glider or fishbone, and thus, like, it was about the same amount of people as the last few tournaments getting through the dragon pendulum. And then obviously, you had a few people screw up towards the end, but it's just people kind of have gotten the hang of you know the renewal flow as far as it's a longer stage one. Of course, we'll talk about the tournament 12 stage one, I'm sure, later. But like that longer stage one, people are getting the hang of some of those new obstacles that have been in this renewal, and as a result, they kind of are able to judge the time that they needed to take, especially with the new Great Wall last time. I felt like um, you could take a couple attempts and still make it. And obviously, we had some very fast times, some very slow times. Shout out Booker. Um, but it was a really good stage one. I mean, obviously, all the clears were late, but it was very exciting to watch, even from someone who failed the last obstacle. Seeing some people who I didn't expect to clear, and then some shocking fails in there as well. It was a really good stage one.
Yeah, yeah, no. Um, from the get go, I thought it was gonna be a lot rougher of a start because I don't think we got a clear until like mid to early 40s.
I think no, I think the first clear. I can double check what I sent you. I don't have my computer on me, but I think it was 38 was the first clear, which was 38
Oh,
out of.
was that
I
Booker?
I beg your pardon. Flame was 39. So the clears, I guess, for those who have not seen 11, you've been spoiled probably enough. But here you go. The clears were 39 Flame, 40 Cobra, RIP Irish 41, Booker 42. Hunter 44, Smokey 45. Oh, I skipped Strafe at 43. 43, 44, 45. And then we had Joey at 48 and Petrillo at 50. Those were the clears. Um,
Yeah.
so it was definitely interesting. I mean, I think we talked about it. I had a very similar last tournament as well for Irish Warrior, where it was just, you kind of expected a few more people in the early numbers to do kind of well, and no one really made a run at clearing until we got to Flame. Like I'm trying to think. I think Cheese was the only person to get to the ball roll out of the first 38, and he was like a really low number
Yeah, he
because
was
he failed the
14, and he got that
yeah
far. She's surprised the world. He came
yeah
out with a pretty solid run,
yeah. Let's go
and
Cheese.
we'll see if that flows into 12. Maybe we'll get a
Yeah.
maybe we'll get the first cheese clear since tournament 5.
I was gonna say there's a few people that are gonna go into 12 that have not cleared in a while. It's kind of crazy to think about, but I know
Yeah,
Cheese is definitely one of them.
cheese, Sonic, a whole bunch. And yeah, so moving on to stage 2, results were uh, not
They were
that great.
bad.
This
The
is where
balance
things
tank did a number.
kind of got awful, to be honest. Flame, he failed the metal spin expectation. Get to stage 3 first time, you can fail a tough obstacle like that. You know, metal spin's probably, other than the balance tank, the hardest obstacle that was on that stage, I'd say. I think that's a fair assumption.
I mean, for what it's worth, I'll let you go through the whole stage before I leave my full comments on this stage too. But really, there's not a whole lot of easy obstacles on that stage, other than well, the first two are pretty easy. I mean, it's just you kind of got to go fast. But then really, the third through the seventh obstacles all are tough in their own ways. And there's nothing really that's a given on that stage too. Obviously, shown by the results. I mean, it looked like straight out of Irish Warrior. I mean, 2 out of 8. Like, come on now, what show are we watching here? Um, but no, I think that's a fair statement about the metal spin. I feel like people have gotten a lot better on it compared to Tournament 9, where you had everyone and their long lost cousin fail it, and Smokey was the only one to beat it. But
Out of the
still
people
tough.
that failed, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's very interesting how big of an effect the balance tank actually had in this tournament. It took out Cobra, it took out Booker, took out Hunter, and it took out, number 50 Pedro. I mean,
Mm.
did its damage.
Yeah, and the Pedro fail was like the most shocking to me because it was like he failed the dismount, which I didn't even think was like that hard. Like it's almost just like he rushed it ever so slightly. He didn't get the big jump.
He
But
went
the
through it
others,
a little early.
yeah, but the others, it was just like, it's a very tricky obstacle because the thing moves so fast. It's hard to stay consistent on it. And I just, when I saw that obstacle, I'm like, okay, this is probably what Hunter's failing this tournament. And sure enough, I was right. I mean, nothing against my man Hunter. He's way better than me, but it's like he gets on those moving things that go super fast. It seems like he is just a dead man walking. And then Booker and Cobra. I mean, again, great performance by them for beating that stage 1, but again, they don't have a ton of the stage 2 experience. I mean, this was Cobra's first time actually beating stage 1 on your
Cobra's,
course.
yeah, on my
Um,
course, and
and then
Booker's, I
second,
think
right?
second. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a second in a row according to my cheat sheet. So,
Wait,
yeah,
no,
I mean, both
second in
those
a
guys.
row, third total, because he did an 8. I don't know
Oh,
if you
he
know
did.
that.
You're right. I beg your pardon. Yeah, because he finished 11th in both 7 and 8, and I forgot that
Oh,
11
this
people
this
cleared.
this
And
wiki that Booker made has how many appearances each competitor had. Holy
oh
crap!
yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, I was gonna say so. Booker and Cobra are both people that don't have a ton of stage 2 experience, and so it's tough to get on something like that and really execute when it comes down to it. So failing that obstacle is nothing to be ashamed of. That said, when I saw that obstacle, I knew it'd be tough. I didn't think it'd go 50% um, at all. I thought it
Yeah,
would be take out a couple and then a couple in the metal spin, but No, Balance Tank wasn't messing around.
It was not messing around. And you know who else wasn't messing around on this stage? Joey Davis beating the stage in 14 seconds. He's out of his
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, that's pretty good.
I
Just a
mean,
little
it's
bit
not as
fast.
fast as tournament. It's not as impressive as like the 20 he did in 10 or something like that. But I
Hmm.
mean, he clears it clear.
Do you want me to talk about the time limit now, since we're on the topic of Joey's clear?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. I did not get to see any of stage two during the tournament. Um, I was told, like, I knew the results going into it, and obviously I'm the one that puts the timers in and stuff. Going in, I did not realize until he told me that the time limit was 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And so when I realized that the time limit was five less than tournament nine, which I thought had a tight time limit, and 10 less than last time, I'm like, wow, Chumpy's really not messing around. So
Alright.
Joey's 14-second clear was super crazy. And
If
then
I stuck with
the
what I initially did, he could have beaten it in over 20. And that's
yeah,
freaking
I mean,
dumb.
Strafe. Well, Strafe though is, I mean, obviously he ends up getting first. Strafe to time out on the key lock hang in the last tournament, not even sniff beating the stage, and then to pull through, clutch it out on the last obstacle, and clear with a second left. Like that was super cool to watch. Because
Dude,
again,
I'll say it once, I'll say it again. The impressive part wasn't strafe clearing, because I know he's capable of doing it. That was his fifth appearance at stage 2, and he never beat it.
sheesh,
And that was his
yeah.
first time beating it.
And you said it in the commentary too. It was the hardest stage two that you've had. I'd say both statistically and obstacle wise and time limit. I mean, that's a killer stage two, and it took out some heavyweights. So
Yeah, pretty crazy for strafe. I was very impressed. Very
hmm
impressed.
yeah, I was as well. Big grip to Smokey timing out again in the water walls, but
Dude, if he times out again in the water walls, I'm just gonna tell him, just time out somewhere else. You're making my heart beat too much.
yeah,
He gets so close, man. That's the tough part for him. Like, he gets there, and it's always just short. Like, he's on the last one times out.
yeah. I mean, I think 12/14 will be interesting. Just as far as there are some obstacle changes to all the stages, but especially stage two that will be interesting. And I feel like they play into Smokey's hand a little bit, so hopefully Smokey will be able to pull through next time around.
Yeah. Then stage 3. People didn't do. It was pretty similar to 10, actually. You know, Joey failed the cliffhanger, which, I mean, I don't think anybody should be surprised about failing that cliffhanger. Like, I think that's kind of a benchmark to where you're like, oh yeah, I had a really good tournament, is if you get to the cliffhanger right now.
Yeah, and Joey obviously it was his personal best. He had failed the third. Well, he had failed the floating boards in eight, which of course you brought back and put it back as the second obstacle.
Oh, it was
And
a
then you had
revenge tour for Joey.
I was gonna say, and then he had Discount Mirror's Edge, which he failed in 10. You kept saying you failed the cliffhanger. Nice job, you, in commentary. No, I'm
So.
kidding. Um, but the fact that he beat the two obstacles that he failed in the past, back to back, was super cool to watch. That cliffhanger's tough though, so wasn't horribly surprised by that. Um, Strafe, I was super impressed with for him not seeing that stage three ever, and then getting to the cycling road. It would have been nice to see him actually get a jump on the cycling road,
Yeah, that
but
would have been cool.
yeah, that was again of getting by the cliffhanger on your course is something not a whole lot of people have ever done. So
Oh
Strafe
yeah,
puts himself in that elite company for sure.
very impressive. Uh, anything else we want to talk about in 11? Any? People didn't like the color as much this tournament. People weren't
Oh,
too
the
into
orange.
orange.
Yeah.
I personally was a fan.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I kind of liked the 9 and 10 more than 11, but
Yeah.
I mean, it still was fine. It wasn't like, I don't know, mud or anything crazy like that. Mud brown, I guess, would be a color. But I mean, it was fine. I don't really care. I mean, a
Yeah.
course is a course. Colors are not. So
Yeah. I will say though, uh, the amount of people that were at the premiere was pretty awesome too. There was the most people at this premiere that I have seen in a long time. A long time. There was like 22 guys at the premiere at one point. It was crazy. Pretty
no, now you're talking. Yeah.
pretty fun premiere. Overall 11. It was a good tournament. I liked it. The only like, negative from it was the fact that I kind of had to restart it for reasons I won't get into. Uh, it was still fun. I just dropped my phone. Uh-oh. That
Not a boy.
sucks. Guess I'm going without my phone for the rest of this podcast.
You could pick up your phone,
Uh,
bruh.
I have my laptop on my lap right now.
Oh,
I
that's an
don't
oof.
want the podcast here.
Ask in the chat for Chumpy's phone.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say 11 was definitely good. It seemed like a good little progression off of what happened in 9 and 10, where 9 you had 5 clears, you had stage 2 just killing people. 10 you had actually some very shocking success on stage 2, but you did make it easier with the time limit. You didn't really change anything. And 11, you made stage 1, I thought, what felt like a little bit easier. You still only had 8 clears. I thought you actually were going to get more. Um, obviously there were people who were more than capable of doing it that got to the very end and didn't pull it off.
Mhm.
Shout out me. Um, yeah, my goal at this point is to just lower my morale as much as possible, bringing up how I did in this tournament. But no, it's just like when you think about it, like there could have been 10 to 12 clears pretty easily, and it's kind of crazy to think about considering where we were when you showed tournament 9 to people and you weren't sure if anyone was going to beat that stage 1. And now we're at the point where people have gotten very good at it. Stage
Mhm.
2, on the other hand, you really buffed it and it showed. It didn't feel like an unfair buff at all, and it really felt like a very well-rounded stage 2. Probably the best stage 2 you've had as far as not only obstacles but results. It was really exciting to watch. And then stage 3 is stage 3. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's going to take a hell of an effort for someone to get to the final. So
Absolutely.
that's my take on 11. Sorry to ramble on, but
No, no, no. No, no, no. Ramble away. Uh, I think now's the time where we start to get into talking about 12. We're going to be a little bit different with this. The runs have already gone through, really. Like, the important runs have happened, mostly. So,
yeah,
so
icons in this tournament.
there's
Sorry
not
to
going to
spoil
be... We're
everyone.
not going to make predictions, because we already know what happened, most of us. Uh, so, um, instead we'll just talk about the basic premise of the tournament, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, first thing is the number of competitors.
Oh yeah, 100 competitor tournament.
God, you've
Pretty
been talking about
pretty
this for
great.
months. Finally, you've decided to pull the trigger.
And so far it's working. I mean, I I'm not gonna get into too much behind the scenes, but at the moment, I have 51 runs and I didn't get any randos yet, which is
Wow, that's really good.
pretty awesome. People are coming out for the tournament, which is really nice, and I expect a few more people to show up near the end of the deadline because of obviously Hunter Units tournaments coming on and things like that are
Yeah,
starting to roll around. Um,
yeah.
Also, different setup for the videos for 12. We're doing episodes now because, let's be real, who wants to sit through a 100 competitor tournament all in one night? Nah, no one. Absolutely not. Maybe Irish. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would have, but it's all good.
I feel like you have to be really like into it to do it. You know what I mean? Like you have to be
Yeah, I mean,
really.
well, I think ROG has shown like it's already tough to do. Well, and I mean, we've kind of found it since we've done the one shot deal. It's tough enough to do 50 and get it all into one video where, you're when you have a really good tournament, you're looking at an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah.
To do 100, that's like at least another 45 minutes. And, you can
Mhm.
see, with ROG when he wanted to put all that effort into Spartan Sasuke 19, ended up being like 3 hours, 10 minutes. And so,
Yeah.
it's just like then you're into the territory of like, oh boy, how long is this thing gonna be? It just turns into this mammoth deal that definitely splitting it up seems like the right idea for the route you're going.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a good plan because like Rog can do it. Like Rog has the amount of people. Like he has what's the word for it? Like intrigued enough fan base to like do that sort of thing. Like Rog can expect the viewers to sit through that because he has very
He's established.
he's
Yeah.
established. Maybe I'll do a full tournament all in one down the road. Get a few more viewers. But right now, I think the right thing to do is have episode form. Oh, and it's not gonna be like freaking Smokey and Hunter. They spend like 3 weeks in between episodes, maybe months if your name's Hunter Unit. Um,
Damn.
I'm going to do edit every episode and then upload it like week by week because let's be real. You watch an episode of Hunters, the next one rolls around, you forget what happens in the next one. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You're not super wrong. I definitely didn't expect the shots at the unit though in this
Hunter can just expect it.
well, there you go.
Hunter's used to me rambling on his course.
This is fair.
This is nothing new. How long have we been doing this for? A good bit, good bit. Any any way you expect the tournament to end? Like how you expect it to go? Obviously, you kind of know how it's going, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just say what I thought going into the tournament, and you guys can read off of what I'm saying whether it's happened or not.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing with you going to 100 is that you have made stage one significant. Well, stage one and stage two significantly shorter. That said, when I was practicing them, I was like, okay, these don't feel a ton easier.
Yeah.
So you have the third obstacle in stage one, which is the jump hang kai. And I would say going into this tournament, a lot of people have expressed that the jump hang kai is very tough, especially at that position. So it'll be interesting to see because it's a third obstacle in 100 competitor tournament. I think you're going to see a lot of people get there, and it's going to be very interesting to see how many different techniques and how people do on it. Um, I think you're going to see a lot of different looks at it, and I think you're going to see a lot of fails on it, but you're going to see some successes on it. Now, the other thing with it is that you got rid of the bouncy ball, which is nice because I'm terrible at that. But you also have a time limit on stage one that's like the shortest you've had in a long time. I think it might be your shortest ever, if I recall correctly. 95 seconds on stage one for
It
seven
might be.
obstacles.
I think so. I think
I
so.
think I think you had 100 in tournament one, and then everything else has been like higher than that. Everything's been 100 or higher,
Yeah.
so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. No.
Um,
For sure.
but I guess it's just it's going to be a lot more speed oriented. Where I'd say the last three tournaments have been a lot more of a just steal a phrase from like March Madness, survive in advance, where it was just get through one obstacle at a time. The time will become a factor down the line, but you're not really worried about it on the first few obstacles. Now it's kind of a sprint to the finish deal, where every obstacle you can lose some time, and then you're going to think about that time if you do fail kind of thing, because you get down to those last few obstacles, you might have to take some chances to clear, and it'll be interesting to watch the stage one. Obviously, I've seen a few runs, but that was kind of my mindset going into the tournament for that. Do you want me to go into stage two now, or do you want to make your
I'm
statements on
gonna
stage
I'm
one?
gonna talk about stage one for a bit. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
go on.
I definitely think that I've turned the stage from a cross country race to more of a sprint, if you know what I mean, to use that
Mm-hmm.
as a metaphor. Um, and definitely it's a seven obstacle stage now. Uh, the obstacle that separates the boys from the men's gonna come earlier. I don't think that's a shocker. Moving the jump hang to three, it's gonna take a lot of people out. Like that's not like that should be obvious. It's gonna take quite a bit of people out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it'll be balanced. Like the first two obstacles, like first one's not bad, second one's pretty tough too. So I think that it's gonna be a lot more mixed than a lot of people are saying it's gonna be. Like I think a lot of randos will wipe on the first and second two along with the third. If you know what I mean.
And I think the thing with it too, with it being a shorter stage, I think you're going to see some heroic runs from some randos if they are able to beat the third and potentially even the fourth obstacle and get to the Great Wall. Like you'd be like, wow, this guy really came out of nowhere. We've seen some randos kind of have some breakout runs in some courses lately, and I'm kind of hoping we have another one here in Halo Sasuke 12, and I think it's definitely capable of happening.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a few guys who haven't cleared before, but definitely have a chance. You brought that up earlier. Chi, Sonic. There's some people who
They've
haven't cleared before. Uh,
well, they've cleared
Snaz,
before, but
Gotenks, Z Master. A bunch of names that are capable of being the stage, for sure.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say so. Sonic and Cheese has not cleared since tournament five. Going even farther back, I almost look at someone like a Killer Demand who hasn't cleared since tournament two, if I recall
Oh,
correctly.
definitely possible for him. He's a lot
Like,
better. I tell you guys, like
yeah,
he doesn't look at the maps too much. He's a lot better of a jumper than people think.
hmm I mean, there's quite a few guys that have not cleared in a while that I think are going to look at this stage one and go, "This is a definite opportunity." It's not a walk in the park like what some people act like it is, but it's definitely a stage one that's a lot. I don't want to say easier, but it's a lot simpler looking to competitors that maybe don't practice as hard as
Mm-hmm.
others. Like say, um, you know, you mentioned the two Gotenks and Snaz. I'd say both of them are 100% capable of beating the stage. And it'll be very interesting to see how they end up doing. I actually don't know how if they've run or how they end up doing, but like
Gotenks has run. Snaz has not. And it's
okay,
interesting in case you bring that up because like this is behind the scenes a little bit. I was in the map and for like 40 minutes with Snaz the other day. Like he's putting in work for it,
yeah,
and I think he cleared a bunch of times actually, and I think
well,
within
yeah,
the time limit, like it's definitely possible for Snaz. It's just about if he pulls it in his run, which he hasn't done yet. So if I just predicted that, I actually predicted
let's well, that's
it.
good to hear because I mean he definitely puts in the practice. I think a lot when he knows he's capable of beating the stage, which I think is what really happened with him practicing super hard for Rogs 19. So, gosh, I hope Snons can do it. That'd be awesome after all these tournaments. But it's not a guarantee. Like talking to Joey Davis before the tournament, he's like, "This has got to be the easiest stage one you've ever had at Atlantic," and like all this stuff about how like no one should fail this stage one. I think it goes before he had the time limit, but even then, it's just like that stage one is not as easy as it seems.
it's
I think you're going
and
to see a lot of
this
shocking failures
tournament
on it.
it's definitely the time limit has become a focus on that stage for sure.
100%.
All right, well, now we talk about our stage 2 changes, sponsored by role playing Garchomp. Uh, let's get into that.
Yeah, stage two. I was gonna say you thought stage one was a speed stage. Stage two really is a speed stage now. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You now have a 90-second time limit for stage two,
Oh yeah.
which is again one of the lowest you've ever had, and the lowest obviously in this era by a long shot. Um,
It's definitely lower, and I think that also comes with the fact that an obstacle was removed, like
yeah.
the
So you took out the key lock,
key lock
which
hang. Yeah.
I think takes out. I mean, depending on the competitor, could take out 20 seconds from the stage. Um, you also, kind of shockingly to me, took out the balance tank and replacing it with the balance ball, a new little obstacle similar to Rog's roulette ball from Spartan Sasuke, where you got to kind of roll the ball straight down a track. If you roll too far to the side, it will roll off and you are a goner, which is an interesting obstacle on a speed stage like that. So, overall, I think people are going to really have to move it. And it'll be very intriguing to see how people handle, you know, like I said, it's very similar to stage one, where instead of it being a little bit more of a survive and advance, worry about the time limit at the end, it's become more of a I got to move it right from the start to have a chance to beat the stage.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot more stage two clears. Like, you know, I think you'll see some more stage one clears. You'll see more stage two clears.
Mhm.
But I still think, you're going to see some competitors fall under the pressure of the time and potentially blow it. So it'll be intriguing because it's not like what we saw in 11. It's a lot easier, but I think the time limit really compensates and makes up for it.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. No. I honestly I don't have much to say about stage 2 other than there's some obstacles that the new guys are gonna need their luck on. I think the balance ball is a similar difficulty to the balance tank. Maybe a bit easier, but I think it's a roughly the same difficulty personally. Um, so we'll see if that causes anybody to slip up. I'm
Yeah.
interested in how that's gonna treat our competitors.
Yeah, it's not a gimme. I mean, it seems like a lot simpler obstacle, but under the time pressure, you could screw that up real easy. So,
For sure, for sure. All right, I think the other stage we have to talk about is all stage 3. The block of cheese platform stage, as Rog likes to call it. Uh, I don't know where he gets that from. Maybe you can shine some light on that, Rush.
I mean, it is very very yellow. But I don't know. I don't really see the cheese resemblance. The one thing I will say about that stage three that I was very surprised to see going into this tournament is the removal of the rolling dodge for the second time, replacing the sixth obstacle with the vertical limit, which had not been seen, I believe, since tournament two.
it
Um,
makes me very upset that I had to take that out.
Tough scene for the rolling dodge because you have now had the rolling dodge. Let me see what tournament. I think it was six.
I had it in
I can
tournament
double.
6. I had it in
Yeah, so you
9,
had
10, and
six,
11,
9, 10, 11,
and
and
it
it got
has not been touched.
and will not be touched again unless you decide to bring it back in a future tournament. Which obviously now you'll have a few more tournaments to maybe bring it back after 12 with a few more tournaments here on Halo 5. But
Yeah.
I'd say the point is that first things first with stage three that I'll be curious to see is obviously we now have the stopgap on stage 3, and it's the cycling road. Someone's going to have to find a way to get through that. And then from there, the vertical limit, from what I've seen, seems to be a lot easier than the rolling dodge, although still difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still got the ledge climb, which is another obstacle that has not been attempted on your course. Debuted in tournament 3, been around for tournaments 9, 10, 11, and 12. This will be the 5th tournament for the ledge climb, and I'm hoping someone will be able to get to it and show how tough it is. And then that
Oh,
yeet
it's
coaster at
it's
the end
sweaty,
is,
man. Dude, it's like I compare it to Smokey's hang climb. I
yeah, I
compare
mean,
it.
it's, I'm not sure if I've seen anyone besides you actually beat it in practice. I haven't been around for a ton of runs, but
Yeah.
like that thing, it's got a reputation, definitely. And then the yeet coaster at the end is not easy at all. Like the dismount is super deep. Um, I think there's definitely some people capable of getting to the final of this tournament. Like this is really the first time post renewal where I feel like that you have potential of getting a finalist. Um, whether it'll happen or not, I don't know, but I think really the rolling dodge getting removed is going to make a lot of people happy and potentially give them that hope of like, okay, I might be able to make it through this stage this time. It's
Yeah,
definitely not
yeah.
that much easier, but that was definitely an interesting change when I saw it, which I think might give a green light to some competitors who will see that stage for the first time and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
I got a shot at this now because the rolling dodge. I know there are a few people that were like not able to beat it at all, and so it'll be intriguing to watch again. Hopefully, again, first thing first, people are gonna have to get through cycling road, but
The people that will, it'll be fun to watch for sure.
yeah.
Um, anything else that needs to be said about 12? Like, I can't think of anything else that needs to be said about 12. To be honest, I think I am excited. That's for
Hmm.
sure. Very excited. And I also think that you guys should tune in to the premiere when it comes out.
Well, it's like gonna be like a multiple premieres, but
The
it's
first
definitely a
premiere.
big step. I mean, this is the first time. Well, I mean, what you're only the 4th course. I mean, besides Spartan Warrior on Unreached, that was a little bit different. But you're only the 4th like modern course to now go to 100, and it's definitely a big step for you. And I'm gonna be very curious to see how you pull it off as far as the production and stuff. And I think it'll be very exciting. And you might be this might be a big tournament for people to kind of look back and see what opened the doors for a lot of different courses to maybe consider going to 100. Chumpy here is being the test dummy for a lot of us. So um,
Yeah.
I
I
hope it goes well there, sir, as far as
am
the
I
editing. I know obviously you're
am I
halfway
a
through the tournament, but
trendsetter-ish? Am I a trendsetter?
well, I don't want to make any predictions on that. I know there were a few people that had discussed going to 100 once we went to Infinite. Now, obviously, Infinite is like the game that'll never be released. Um, I
The
mean,
game
it might
just
be just be
don't
it
want to
might
work.
it might just be a figment of our
I was
imagination at
ready to
this
be
point.
done at 12. I was gonna make the whole gimmick, hey, last Halo 5 tournament, and then Forge Delay comes out. I'm like, bruh, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, hey, I know it's the Halo Sasuke 12 precast,
Now
but
I want to
how do you
do
think?
3 more.
But how do you think Rog feels? Freaking
Oh,
Rog, poor guy.
Rog's losing his mind. He's living it.
Poor F's in the chat for Rog. For those watching
I
this,
don't
like,
think Rog's heart can take it.
no. I mean, again, he had
That
an
poor
awesome
boy.
19, and now he's basically forced to do 20. Otherwise, he takes a 2 year gap between tournaments, which no one has ever done, and like would be very tough to really regain the momentum he had after 19 if he took that long. So
Yeah.
now I think people will be hyped up for 20 again, and
He's doing
I
that
can tell you from
in October,
yeah.
I think. He said.
we got a lot of tournaments here about to happen. Not just
Oh
Halo
yeah,
Sasuke, but we got my renewal going on. We got Flames renewal going on.
Hunter,
Yours
Smokey,
obviously, and then we got Hunter, Smokey,
Smokey.
and Rog.
I
We're gonna have the
think
big three all having tournaments here by the end of October, I believe.
the Big
So
Three's doing it. I think the Big Four's doing it too. I think Sonic's running too.
I think Sonic. He told me he's starting his in like mid-November or early November, which is
Ah,
probably smart.
yeah,
But
do it once everybody else gets theirs done. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, yeah, a lot of tournaments to watch here for the Halo jumping community. So I'd say stay tuned to all of them. I know it's gonna be tough, but it's definitely an exciting time. I mean, there's just a lot of excitement. There's so many people that are just insanely good at like the highest level I've ever seen. So here's to some good tournaments.
Oh yeah. All right, let's talk about some important dates. So, I want to start Tournament 13 in mid to late October. So, what that means is I am going to uh, probably start get the first premiere. I'd expect it in mid September or mid to late September. I think is a good time frame to expect the first episode of 12 to come out. But I'm not gonna make any promises now. Editing is long and tedious. Me and Rish understand better than anyone.
Sure. Well,
Uh,
I think more and more people understand now, but yes, I do agree with you.
but that's the goal, and I think I'm gonna bring this podcast to a close. Any final remarks? Anything you wanna talk about, Rish? Any promotions?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for supporting me over the years. Consenting Halo Sasuke Tournament 12 has really been a lifelong goal, and I'm so happy I was able to accomplish it. And I can't wait for everyone to watch it here once the tournament comes out.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Alright, and Rish has a tournament of his own going on. Make sure to do that, guys. Uh, I'm sure most people that have a willingness to watch this all the way through um, probably is also a fan of Irish's tournament. But
Yeah,
his is going on right now. Run it,
those that
please, or I'll
those
be
that
angry.
those that watch this all the way through, you're the real MVPs. Thank you for putting up with us for the last 40 plus minutes as we ramble at 10:26 on a Tuesday evening. Although I'm sure this will probably get
Yeah.
uploaded like
I
tomorrow. So
I woke up this morning and I was like, we haven't done a precast. Why haven't we done a precast? So that's what I
I f-
wanted to do. I literally just messaged Irish and he was like, oh, I gotta do a run then. Okay.
yeah, and here we are.
Big moves. Anyways, thank you all for stopping by and listening. Peace out.
See you for tournament 12.